Hi everybody, in this video we're going to continue our work on the windshield. This is the second video in what's going to turn out to be a series of videos, I'm sure. We've already created the top part and we've shelled it out, it's hollowed out, so now we need to create the base that'll actually slide into the wooden passenger body. How do we do that? Okay, so what we're going to do first is we have to go look at the dimensions and we have to understand that the base sticks down from the bottom of the body. In fact, let me show you what I'm looking at here. And what I can see here is the important dimension is right here. It's this 0.67. So I know that if I were to extend downward from the bottom of this shell that we already created, another 2/3 of an inch, that's how far down the bottom of this base would go that we're going to draw. Okay, so that's what I'm going to start with. And with that in mind, I'm going to construct an offset plane. I'm going to start at the bottom of this surface and I'm going to drag downward 0.67 inches. And so what that does is if I look at this from the side, that gives me a base that I'm going to draw from. So I'm going to come over here now, rotate upward. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to create a sketch on that plane. So I'm drawing on that surface that I'd drawn out in the middle of nowhere. Okay, a couple of things that I want to do now. I'm going to hit P to project some geometry, and I'm going to drag click on the outline that we've already created. And what this does is it turns that outline purple, and it means that I can dimension to those points that maybe I was not going to be able to dimension earlier. I'm going to draw a simple rectangle. I'm going to be careful about not lining it up with anything else. So if I hit like this, I need to be careful about not doing that because I don't want to constrain myself to anything in particular at this moment in time. Notice that it's entirely blue. Everything here can float around. And I'm just going to go through and I'm going to add the dimensions from the dimension sheet as I see them. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video so you don't have to watch me dimension everything, but really all I'm doing is I'm adding dimensions for the outer rectangle that you see here. I'm going to add these dimensions for the outer rectangle of the two, and then I'll unpause the video when I get done. Okay, so you can see I have the thing completely dimensioned here. That took 4 dimensions, 2 from the very bottom and 2 from the very right, according to the dimension sheet, and now I have that thing fully locked down, fully in place. Okay, so now the next step is to actually go through, and I would recommend at this point in time that you stop your sketch. You come over here to a good view from the bottom, and we're going to extrude this upward. Here's the profile that I want, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to extrude this direction, but I don't want to cut away material. I actually want to join material together, join the two pieces together. You can also see that I have an issue here because of the curvature of the top. I don't want to go all the way to the top. So I'm going to, instead of saying distance, I'm going to say to object, and the object that I want is the bottom surface of this. Now whenever I go through and click OK, I can see that it's locked to the top. Okay, it goes all the way to the top no matter which surface I look at, right? You can see that, and I have a solid body. So that's the next step in the process, is to get this all done. So now that you have this block extruded, now we need to do some stuff with it to make a little bit more like what we see here. You'll see that it has rounded corners, you'll see that it's hollowed out, and we have these little tabs. Okay, so that's our next step, is to work on that. Notice that the radius of curvature here is 0.15, that's for the 4 corners. And notice that it also tells us somewhere in here, oh, right here, okay, this is important to mention, we can see that that shell at the bottom is 0.05 inches thick. So we're going to worry about that next as well. So let's come over here, and we have to do it in this order. We're going to go through and fillet the corners first, okay? So I'm going to hit F for fillet. I'm going to grab 1, 2, 3, 4 edges, and I'm going to go through and change the radius of this to 0.15. Now this is rounded, and now that it is rounded, I can go through and I can shell out the exterior from the bottom. I'm going to switch back to this view, modify, shell, from the bottom face with a thickness of 0.05. Click OK, and we have the second part of this done. It is shelled out, it's curved, and it extends all the way upwards. So that's pretty slick. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut off this video right now, and I'll start another video to add the tabs at the bottom, and then we're probably going to have a 4th video where we're going to go through and change the physical appearance of it so that it's see-through and that it's green and that it's polycarbonate like it's supposed to be. Hopefully this makes sense. If you have any questions, please ask.